Well, here we are. After just a short time, Monster Hunter World is hitting the charts and critical reception harder than a howling ZINOGRE. It's accessible, it's frantic, and it's packed full of multiplayer ecstasy. And it's showing little signs of slowing with the announcement that new monsters are going to be added via DLC to keep the murderous masses at bay for a little longer. But it got me thinking. I'm a huge fan of these games, having started on the PS2 version of Monster Hunter way back in the age-old times of 2005. Jesus Christ, I'm old. But as a result, I've felled many beasts inside and outside of the bedroom. So I was thinking, what other monsters should be added in future DLC from the franchise's rich history? Well, let's take a look together, shall we? With this in mind, I'm Jules for WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 fan-favourite monsters Capcom must add to Monster Hunter World. And before we begin, I know I'll pronounce some of these names wrong, so I've also provided my little nicknames for these big old bastards. Number 10, SEREGIOS, aka WILLY Wyvern. The gilded terror of the skies, first introduced in Monster Hunter 4, is a fearsome sight to behold, and its bite is even worse than its bark. Hyper-aggressive and fiercely territorial, this beast pretty much requires a max-capacity stock of flash pods to ground this winged terror long enough to do some real damage. The added danger comes in the form of its puncturing scales, which will spray at hunters in an effort to create personalized collections of pincushions. Oh, and it can also cause bleeding with its gorging talons too, so that's f***ing great. In other words, splice the DNA of some of the most cuttish enemies you can find in the franchise, and this is the offspring that would produce. Wonderful stuff. Number 9, NARGACUGA, aka Toothless with teeth. Jesus Christ, this thing is like my biggest fears rolled into one. Okay, so just imagine this. You're alone in the jungle. Oh, shit, it's a panther. Okay, don't worry. It's really far away. I can probably avoid it. No, but it's got wings. I'm dead. Contrary to Monster Hunter World's general rule of thumb that every monster has an abusable weak spot, be it their flanks, rump, or underbelly, this guy has no such chink in its armor. Whether it's the wings, tail, or face you opt to tackle, this flying black panther will cut you like a YouTube comment and leave you looking like you've been boxing against a cheese grater. The addition of Toothless would be wicked, as it would mean that World could actually use its day-night cycle to greater effect, with it only fighting until the break of dawn and then slinking back into the fauna once more. Number 8, BRACHYDIOS, aka SNOTHANDS. Don't let this sniffling snuffler who looks like he's suffering from a heavy cold fool you, because those fists are absolute pistons which will knock you silly if you piss about too much. And the most frightening thing is that if this beast decides to lick its mitts, then it engages a chemical reaction within them that will detonate upon connection with your fragile dome. So what we have here is a monster who has explosive fists. No f***ing thanks, but yes f***ing please, this should be in the game. This would push teams to use a mix of ranged and close combat to balance this walking nuclear reactor, and it would be a brilliant addition to the roster. Number 7, TIGREX, aka Turn It Up to 11. It's actually surprising, given its reputation as a Monster Hunter mainstay, that TIGREX failed to make the cut for World's initial launch, but that at least leaves it in a good position to make it for future DLC. If it does though, be sure to pack a pair of noise-cancelling earplugs, as this particular wyvern can cause some serious damage merely by opening its gob. It's a beast that focuses on pouncing and charging attacks, making it seem a little more stale than some of the other monsters on this list, but every encounter that you have with this loud lad is memorable, because if you get caught in its clutches, you're going to f***ing know about it. It's a balance of timing attacks, dodging, and getting the f*** out of there, which is, in essence, what all great Monster Hunter battles should be about. Number 6, LAGIACRUS, aka Water Baby. In the absence of any dedicated aquatic zones in Monster Hunter World, an entire type of subspecies, namely the Leviathans, have been so far absent from the series' return to consoles. Who knows what Capcom has planned for the future, but there's scope to add a ton of liquid-based lashings if they want to venture under the surface. Not too far removed from the supposed physical likeness of our own mythical beast, Loch Nessie, I mean, just add some horns in you there, LAGIACRUS is much more memorable than most of the Monster Hunter 3's bestiary, mainly in part for its command of two elements you never want battling with each other. Water and lightning never go well together, I mean, just ask my hamster, and here it's even more hair-raising as this beast will zap you right in a heartbeat. Number 5, ALATREON, aka Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! You remember just last entry when I was like, you don't want to have two elements battling with each other at once? Well, try 4, goddamn 4, which ALATREON uses like they were going out of f***ing style. This cock of the walk's elemental alignment changes depending on its battle state, and it's this unpredictability that would be so well received in World, as for the most part the battles are quite formulaic. The design is lush as well, being thick in all the right areas and taking up more screen time than even my f***ing face. Add in elemental dangers which would naturally come in this stage like lava or sticky tar, and you've got potentially not only a fan favorite matchup, but a fucking difficult fight as well. Number 4, FATALIS, aka oldie but a goodie. You don't mess with the classics. It's what anyone touching my collection of shoes and what anyone who has faced Fatalis would say. This is a dragon in the most traditional sense, a fire-breathing behemoth with an axe to grind. World lore shows that this monster has an utter hatred for humanity and can be seen in Fatalis' spawn choice of Castle Schrader, where he's most likely the reason for the structure being destroyed and abandoned. It's a fierce opponent and makes good use of its size to slam would-be hunters around while torching anyone trying to fight from a distance. If they add a G-rank difficulty as DLC as well, then Fatalis would make a killer star player to that lineup. Number 3, CHAMELEOS, aka Steve Buscemi. Easily this series' most memorable elder based on aesthetics alone, CHAMELEOS isn't just a danger to your life, but your wallet too. This color-changing lizard is quite the kleptomaniac and will steal anything on your person with its adhesive tongue. In the absence of an anti-theft skill in World to protect your valuables, it's unlikely that we'll see that notorious ability carry over from Monster Hunter 2, but that's no biggie, as this dragon has plenty of other tricks up its sleeve to deceive and divert hunters. Invisibility by way of camouflage and sight-obscuring mist makes CHAMELEOS a slippery fella to pin down. A battle with this googly-eyed beast is one of wits as well as brawn. Plus, we just need some more ostentatious colors in the mix, don't we? Of course we do. Number 2, ZINOGRE, aka Final Fantasy. Unlike most wyverns, this beast owes a lot of its design to wolves, meaning that it's fast, deadly, and thanks to its statically charged fur, a thunderblight-inflicting that grows progressively more powerful by absorbing the energy of surrounding wildlife. Fun times. If allowed to reach maximum charge, ZINOGRE will attain more power than even your mum's bedside marital aid, so it's in your best interest to smack it with everything you've got to halt that powering up. Fighting ZINOGRE is all about applying constant pressure. The longer a fight with it goes on, the more powerful this beast gets. Most of Monster Hunter World's hunts only undergo mild changes as the fight wears on, so ZINOGRE's inclusion would be a welcome upset to the status quo. And number 1, Gormagala, aka Angst. As if it could be anyone else. Since its introduction, Gormagala's rocketed up the ranks of the series' most well-received big nasties to such heights that Capcom must be withholding the 6-limbed wyvern as a means of enticing hunters who've exhausted the challenges of high rank back to the fold. In fact, as per speculation from eagle-eyed fans, the developer could already be sowing the seeds for the return of Monster Hunter 4's flagship Big Nasty. So you best be prepared for a catastrophic upsetting of New World's delicately balanced ecosystem, as Gore's contagious frenzy virus does not discriminate. Plus, the gear you get from its carcass looks sublime. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, right? Not the challenge, but the style. Digital style.
Gosh, can you believe that person said that about that particular video on that entry? I sure can't. But you should like, share and subscribe below anyway. And also, the people who made this video, they're right here. Go follow them and give them some love. Also, there's more content, probably above my head. Check it out. Or don't. 50-50.